You have any questions for me?
Hello, fellow fantasy sports fans. I'm Dr. Dan Ratner. I'm here with Ross the Boss. Here he is.
Hey, everybody, I'm Ross the Boss, and I want to talk fantasy basketball, but NBA preview with you, cowboy.
Yeah, look, the truth is we're not even going to talk fantasy. We're talking reality because the playoffs are here on MFSN. If you haven't already, click subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, hit like if you like what you're hearing, like if you don't like it. I don't even care. And put your comments below, and we will answer you directly. Okay, Ross, we got the play-in games going on tonight. What's the schedule tonight?
Tonight, we got, I believe tonight is Washington. Washington plays tonight, right? Washington is
Celtics. Yep.
Is playing. Is that happening tonight?
I believe so, but you know what? I'll check on that. But let's get into
I know the Lakers play Golden State tomorrow. That's the big game, and that's the game that I want to talk about first, just because that game is a rivalry game. It's Golden State versus the Lakers. It's the Steph Curry versus LeBron. I mean, it's an unbelievable matchup. And just remember, the loser isn't out of the playoffs in that playoff round. So what happens is, just to remind the audience how it works, is the 7 and 8 seed play. They have to lose twice. I said it twice to be eliminated from the playoffs. So even if Golden State loses tomorrow, they play the winner of the 9 and 10 game, and if they win that game, they move on and play the 6th seed.
Right. So the 7 and 8 seeds, they could lose once and still advance.
There you go.
Lose the series. P. Donovan, our friend Pat, says, "Look at these studs. You got good taste, Pat."
Patrick Donovan, awesome football player, coach at Windsor University in Canada. He's one of the best defensive coordinators in the country, actually, in Canada. He's one of the best, and he was an all-Canadian football player for Concordia. Unbelievable. What an athlete.
So listen, we have a game.
Let's talk about I want to talk about the Lakers and Golden State.
All
I mean, LeBron is just they interviewed him recently, and he said Steph Curry's the MVP this year. Do I agree with him? No, I don't agree with him. I think it's Joker in Denver. I mean, you do too, right, Dr. Dan? Joker's the MVP.
Listen, as much as I hate to say it, because I loved when LeBron was so mad about Curry winning the MVP, and he looked
that was the best.
Snarl,
I love that.
But I think Curry is the MVP.
So you agree with LeBron? That's interesting. So Golden State really it's like a one-man band. I mean, they've been on a great tear. I mean, Curry's been averaging like 38 points a game the past 25 games. He's been on like a huge upswing. Unbelievable. But he has no buddy in the background helping him that much. I mean, if you look at the team, they have their front court. Wiseman's hurt, right? Their rookie Wiseman, who's 7 feet tall, University of Memphis. He's not playing. The Lakers have some really big, this guy named Anthony Davis. I never heard of him. He's supposed to be really good, Dan. I heard about this
guy. Yeah. I mean, I thought it was Tony Davis, but all right.
They have, they have Marquez. They have some great big men. They even have this guy named Drummond, who they got from your favorite team. And the Lakers have too many big men up front, and they got LeBron James coming back. I don't think Golden State will be able to beat them tomorrow night. What do you think?
I'm in complete agreement. I think the Lakers are going to dominate, but this is one of the, I don't know if they'll dominate because Curry will keep them in it, but they'll win by 10. That's my guess. So, but listen, first of all, P. Donovan is saying Celtics Wizards. We're going to get to that in a second.
We will get to that. I have a lot to say about that game, Patrick Donovan. Don't worry. I'm there.
But before we do that, we have to note that the Pacers are giving a shellacking to the Hornets right now. They're winning by 25 in the third quarter. And I think the Pacers are a much better team than the 9 seed, but they've played down to that. They earned the 9 seed. They could have been better than that. I don't think they're going to advance far in the playoffs. They're clearly
what's happening tell me what's happening in that game right now?
The Pacers were up by 25.
So the Pacers are winning.
The Pacers are winning. They're winning by 25. I mean, they're putting on a clinic of some kind.
It's unbelievable.
It's a basketball clinic, I believe. So listen, I mean, the Pacers, this might be the last chance they get at the limelight here, because they're going to have to face the loser of the Wizards-Celtics game. I don't like them to beat either of those teams. They could, but I don't
No,
think
let's talk about the Wizards real quick. I mean, they have the best guard tandem in the whole tournament. Do you agree with Beal and Westbrook? I know you're not a Westbrook guy, but
no. I'm not a Westbrook guy in fantasy.
Okay, in fantasy, but in real
reality,
life.
Well, listen, I mixed on him in reality because he does hog the ball too much. He could be a much better player.
You realize he's averaged a triple-double like a bunch of seasons in a row, and he does give assists. You understand that.
He's a huge assist guy, but he also hogs the ball. It's a weird thing that you can actually do both.
And you know that Beal almost got the scoring title. He missed it. It was like to the last week. Beal was up for it, and he lost.
Yep.
But
no, I mean they definitely have the best backcourt. I mean, how can you do better than that?
And you know that the Wizards. We'll talk about the Wizards are 10-5 the past 15 games. You know what the Celtics record the past 15 games are? 5-10. 5-10.
5-10. Wow.
And no Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown's not playing. He's hurt.
Yep.
So it's. I mean, the Wizards. For me, if I had to pick like a dark horse in the playoffs, I like the Wizards.
I like the Wizards to beat the Celtics. I do. Will they go past that? I highly doubt it, because if they beat the Celtics, then they're playing the Nets.
They play the Nets.
I don't think they can beat the Nets.
Yeah, I mean that's a tough thing, especially Ross the Boss beginning of the season. Not during the season. Beginning of the season, everybody else took the Lakers. Who did Ross the Boss take? The Brooklyn Nets.
I was there. It was the Brooklyn Nets. And
you guys all looked at me and laughed and called me loser and called me every name in the book. And I said, I'll get you guys someday. I'm going to pump iron. I'm going to get bigger and stronger. And I'm going to show you guys who's going to win.
This is why I love that we have these things on tape. Go check out what actually happened and see if it matches. We should play what you just said next to what actually happened. It would be hilarious.
I really said the Nets. I'm not.
No. You did say that. You did say that, but we didn't laugh at you. Pat Donovan remembers
what I said.
We didn't laugh at you. Pat Donovan points out the lead was up to 27.
I'm just so excited about the NBA playoffs. I go ahead of myself so quickly. I do like this format. I know LeBron hates it. LeBron was shocked when he found out what it was. He had no idea. And when he found out, he's like, what do I have to do? I have to do a playoff game? I have to do what? He had no clue. And after reading about it, I know you were not too fond of it, but I think I kind of like it. I'm not against it.
This man lies. I always like the playing game. And here's why. I like that even the teams at the back end, like the Chicago Bulls, almost made the play-in, and they were 8 or 9 games under 500. I mean,
yeah,
they still had something to play for, and I think young teams could catch fire. It could be really interesting. I think it just adds interest. If you're a guy like LeBron, listen, I'm sorry. If you went to the West from the East, this is what you get. It is a deep conference. And,
I think the Lakers are in trouble this year. I think the play-in's going to hurt them. I just don't. I think the road for them to win it again is going to be very tough. But again, I mean, a lot of people are picking them. Vegas odds are they're supposed to win the West again. I mean, they still take them.
I don't take them. I don't.
I mean, we'll talk about it. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but we'll talk about it definitely. Keep going.
Well, let's get back to the playing games first, so we cover it well, because we've got Wizards, Celtics.
Okay, and I'm taking the Wizards in that. Who do you like?
I'm taking the Wizards also.
Okay, so Ross the Boss and Dr. Dan Ratner both agree on the Wizards.
Here's my question.
Obvious reasons: backcourt, Celtics are hurt, and they're not playing good basketball.
The Celtics are just not playing good basketball. They don't have great team chemistry. My question to you is: does Brad Stevens possibly get fired?
Ooh, I mean, the city of Boston loves him, and they've been dealing with a lot of injuries this year, and their roster has been going all over the place. They've been trading players. They've been bringing players up and down from D-League. I mean, I don't know. I know the Celtics don't really put up with losing. So that's a great question. If I had to guess, I say yes. He gets fired. He's gone. Goodbye.
I think he's wearing out his welcome. I think they will make excuses for him for one more year, but then he's going to be gone. But Danny Ainge also hasn't done a good job. He says we don't have good players. It's like, you're the GM. What are you saying?
I mean, I think he's done some great draft picks. I have to hand him with that. But overall, I just don't think it's a great team. But remember, Robert Williams got hurt. I mean, they've been through a lot of injuries. I mean, Kemba Walker's been hurt a lot of the year. That Jaylen Brown's not even playing in the first round. I don't know if he's been playing the rest of the playoffs. Who knows? I mean, they've been going through a lot of stuff over there in Boston. So I just don't think the team's gelling well right now, and I think they're on a downswing.
They also dealt Al Horford, and I think that hurt them. It hurt them
I
in the locker
agree.
room.
Even though Al retired or no one wants him to play anymore. So, but
he was a clubhouse leader.
I agree. I thought I thought they needed him. I think you're 1,000% right.
When the Wizards beat the Celtics, it will be partially because they don't have team leadership. And all right, now we already talked Lakers, Warriors. I agree.
Lakers, Warriors. We both like the Lakers.
In this one, yes. I think they're in trouble in the long run.
I do love it's going to be a great game to watch. It's going to be a rivalry game. I mean, Golden State has won the championship 3 out of 6 years, which is an unbelievable stat. And Curry's owned LeBron except for 1 year, 2016. I wanted to see. I said that in a chat room, and you caught it. You're the only one that did.
Well,
but I knew that. But Curry's owned him. But long story short, I mean, LeBron said in an interview that everybody doesn't consider him a scorer, and I have no idea what he's talking about because when the playoffs start, LeBron averages like 35, 40 points a game. I mean, he wakes up, he passes the ball like almost. I mean, he'll probably break the assist record when he's all said and done. I mean, it'll probably break the scoring record too. So LeBron is going to score a lot of points, and AD is going to be healthy, and their bench is going to come alive. The Lakers are going to be tough, and they'll beat Golden State at least in the first round.
I mean, I think so too. And so they'll move on. We'll get to what that means later, but we have one more playing game, which is the Spurs at the Grizzlies. These are two teams that have some danger. I wouldn't really want to play them in the first round.
So the Spurs are playing the Grizzlies. I mean, it's so funny. That's like the least publicized game. It's like no one's even talking about those two teams.
No, it sounds like it's an
exhibition. I mean, anytime Popovich is in the playoffs, I always take him. So just because of Popovich, the players don't really matter who's on the team. It's just he's such a great coach and so fun to watch as a coach, and he uses mediocre players and they play way out of their league. So I'm taking the Spurs to at least win that one game against the Grizzlies.
I'm with you on that too, Ross. Listen, I want to disagree with you on some of these, but I just think you have the right.
No, we both are. Again, we're both smart guys. We get it, and I just feel Popovich is not going to go leaving in the first round. He does need a haircut, though.
Watch what Popovich does to Ja Morant, though. I think he's going to put the clamps on. I mean, look, I was a Cavs fan way back when LeBron went to the finals against the Spurs.
Yep.
You watched what Popovich did to LeBron as a young player. He's going to do it to Ja Morant. He's
a league of his own when it comes to coaches. He really is. I mean, if anybody else was coaching that team, they'll be in last place with 10 wins.
Listen, Greg Popovich is like Bill Belichick if he was likable. Like, it's incredible.
Yeah, but Popovich has a personality. Belichick really doesn't.
No, that's what I mean. If Belichick was likable,
there you go.
He would be Popovich. That's what I'm saying. All right, so now let's move. Assuming we're right, let's start to predict what we think is.
So what's happened is Golden State will play San Antonio. I'll take Golden State to beat San Antonio. Golden State will get the 6. Will get the they'll get the 8th seed. Correct. They'll play.
Wait, hold on. You're saying the Spurs will beat the Grizzlies, which means the Spurs will play the Lakers. Right?
No, the Lakers are already in.
Oh no, you're right. I'm sorry.
Right.
The Lakers
are in.
Right. No, you're right.
So now they play Golden State. If Golden State wins, if they win, they move on to the playoffs and they'll play Utah Jazz.
Yep, and I think that is going to happen.
Right.
You do too?
So Utah best record in the West. I feel Utah is the team that's going to get upset first. Donovan Mitchell's not 100%. He hasn't played the last month of the season. He's their. I mean, I know Gobert's good. I know they have some other players, but Mitchell really keeps that team moving. And I just feel that team can get upset, especially in the first round. You heard it from me first, Ross the boss.
Well, listen, I think the Jazz they're in a prime position to say, I told you so if they do well. But they're in that dangerous spot where they could easily get upset and everybody else says, I told you so.
Exactly.
You were not the real deal.
Yeah.
So the Jazz have a lot on the line in terms of what type of team they're going to show up being. But it'll be interesting because if it goes the way we think it will, the Lakers will end up the 7th seed. The Warriors will end up the 8th seed.
Right. And then let's talk about the Lakers at the 7th seed. They're playing the team who I think is the most dangerous in the West, the Phoenix Suns. Remember last year what happened? They were in the bubble. They went 8-0. 8-0. That's can't do any better.
Yep.
And they still left early. They said, "Okay, you guys played great, but you guys didn't make the playoffs, so we'll see you guys later." So now they add probably one of the best point guards in history, in my opinion. I don't know if you agree with me.
Oh, I do agree.
He went to Wake Forest. His name is Chris Paul. He's unbelievable. And Chris Paul is the leader on that team. They have Booker, they have Anton, they have Miles. I mean, they have Bridges. They have a really good team. I love their coach, and I just feel the Suns can easily make it to the Western Finals. I don't know if they will, but I have them. I think I'm going to say they'll upset the Lakers. I say the Lakers lose to the Suns. How about that? Let's throw something in the wrench.
I like that. I could see it happening. I think.
Who do you like?
No, wait. I need to clarify one thing, and I just don't know this, so don't make fun of me. No. But are these first rounds 5 games or 7? I thought they were 7.
I think when they get to the playoffs, everything is 7 games.
That's what I thought. If it were a 5-game series, I'd be picking the Suns.
Oh, you're not.
The Lakers are going to beat the Suns.
That's a great prediction. Everybody's taking the Lakers. I just like to throw a wrench in the system. Again, the Lakers with LeBron and Davis playing at the same time, it's going to be a tough win for the Suns. But I like the underdog. I love Chris Paul. I love the whole story about him, and I'm just rooting for the Suns. But
it's going to go 7. It's going to go 7. Yeah. I think the Suns are going to be up 3-2, and the Lakers are still going to pull it out.
That's a good prediction. Let's keep going.
All right. Okay, so now we've got the Warriors, the 8th seed. You think that they could upset the Jazz? Are you going to call it?
I'm not. I'm taking Utah. I think Utah's front court is just too tough. They have no one that can guard Gobert.
It's going to be a fun series.
I mean, if Donovan Mitchell is at least 80%. And he's guarding Curry, I think that's I just think it's a really strong matchup. I just think Utah, they won 11 in a row once, and they won 9 in a row twice this year, which is really good in basketball, as we all know. So I think with Utah's record and just how they play as a team, I just feel, and Quinn's such a good coach, and I just feel that the Utah Jazz just has too many weapons and they'll beat Golden State.
I agree. Curry would have to go even more bananas.
50 points a game, average 50 points a game.
He might even do that, and they'll still lose.
Yeah,
I mean, they just don't have enough firepower, and I think the Jazz.
Draymond Green can't guard the whole front court. That's the problem. He has to pick one.
I think the Jazz actually totally are for real. But if they get upset, nobody's going to say that.
Yep.
They earned where they're at, but I don't know if that means they're going to keep it. But I do think they'll beat the 8th seed. That being said, if I were the Jazz, I'd honestly rather be playing the Dallas Mavericks than the Golden State
Warriors. Mavericks are playing the Clippers now. We didn't talk about that. And the Clippers, as you know, I'm a Clipper fan. And the Clippers actually lost. They won't admit it, but they didn't play any of their starters the last 2 games. They did not want to play the Lakers. They wanted to play Dallas. And I think the Commissioner Silver called Tyrone Lue, the Clippers coach, and said, "Hey, don't play any of the players. I don't want the Lakers and Clippers to play in the first round. I want you guys to play in the finals because the ratings would be better." Do you understand? Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. I won't play any of my starters, and I'll tank 2 games, which they did. And
it's amazing. They dropped from the 2nd seed to the 4th seed.
Exactly. And during the season, the Mavericks did win the season series 2-1. But remember, Kawhi Leonard did not play in a couple of those games. So let me ask you a question, Dan. You answer this honestly. You ready?
Should I answer like Kawhi?
So we take away Leonard from the Clippers and we take away Luka from Dallas. What team gets hurt more?
Oh wow, that's a great question, Ross. I think the Clippers get hurt more.
Really? See, I think Luka averaging 30 points a game, 11 assists, 10 rebounds against the Clippers is such a dramatic.
In numbers, the Mavs get hurt more.
Right.
But in the ability to win, Luka hasn't learned how to win yet. So if you take away Kawhi, the Clippers are no longer a championship contender at all.
Well, they played without Kawhi during the season. They I think they're over 500, but that's fine.
But they're not going to beat a lot of these tems without.
Of course
Kawhi.
Not. Yes, Kawhi Leonard's an elite player, 1,000%. Right.
This is my argument. If you take away Luka, the Mavs don't actually have that much more of a chance of winning than they do with him.
I get what you're saying. I'm just saying that it's such. Luka is it's such a big factor for the Mavericks to win. I just feel his presence on the Mavericks is everything. If he's not player, the Mavericks are not even a 500 team without Luka. I mean, they're not even close. But in that series, I'm going to take the Clippers. I think Tyronn Lue is doing a great job as a coach. I think the Clippers are playing great basketball. I feel they're healthy. I feel a lot of their players are back who were hurt. Ibaka's back. A lot of the guys are back, and I feel the Clippers are going to beat Dallas. I don't know who you like, but I want to hear it. Here we go.
I guess you don't. You haven't heard this. I have picked the Clippers to win the whole thing. They're going to win it all. That's my call.
I love it. So it just makes my answers easier to keep going. Here we go. Good. I love it.
So I obviously think the Clippers are going to handle the Mavericks. I think they're actually going to do it pretty easily.
I think the Portland-Denver series, which we haven't talked about yet, I feel Denver's front court is just going to destroy Portland's front court. Joker's just going to, they can't guard him. And I feel like Michael Porter Jr. and I feel like even like, they have like Aaron Gordon, who's in the front court now. They got in a trade during the season.
They're big.
They have some great front guys, but Portland does have they have Dame and they have CJ as point guards and those as guards, shooting guard, and they switch off playing point. But it doesn't matter. I just feel Denver's going to win like 4 games to 0.
You could argue, by the way, that they have the better backcourt than the Wizards.
I rather have Beal and Westbrook, but that's me. But
for the playoffs,
I just feel Denver's going to just sweep Portland.
I don't think they're going to sweep them. I think it's going to be a tougher series than people think, but I do think the Nuggets are going to advance.
Okay, so at least we agree on that.
Okay, so now let's finish up the West, and then we're going to jump to the East.
Okay, I'm taking your lead.
We're in the semifinals now. Now I have the Lakers advancing. You have the Suns. So you have the Suns playing the Nuggets, correct?
Suns are playing the Nuggets.
3 seed.
I'm taking the Suns. I just feel the Suns are playing unbelievable basketball, and I just feel that with Chris Paul running the show, I feel the Suns can beat Denver.
Do they reseed? Like if
I don't, I'm not. Let's just pretend for sake it's the Suns and Denver.
Okay, all right. I'll humor you in that, but I can't exactly because I have the Lakers advancing. So. Right. We'll, you know what? Just you finish up your predictions, then I'll run mine.
And then, okay, and then with that being said, the Clippers are going to play. Who did I take in the next?
Play Utah.
The Clippers will play Utah. I have the Clippers winning that round, and then I'll finish it off. The Clippers will play the Suns. I'm taking the Clippers to win the West. The Clippers will be the Western Conference champions this year, and we'll talk about the East very soon.
Okay. I have the Clippers advancing to play the Jazz.
Right.
I do have the Clippers upsetting the Jazz, but that's going to be a 7-game series.
7-game series. I wrote that down. Okay.
Okay. We've got the Nuggets playing LeBron and AD, the Lakers. I think the Lakers take them out. I do.
Ooh, this is Lakers, great. Clippers. So you got the Lakers-Clippers championship.
I think the Clippers are going to win in 6.
The Clippers win in 6. It's all the games will be at Staples Center. There'll be fans there. I think it's going to be like 15% occupancy at Staples Center, maybe even more because supposedly June 2nd they're going to lift everything. We'll see what happens inside. I don't know what they're going to do, but that'd be a great series. The NBA would love you if that happened. That'd be huge ratings for the NBA.
I'm telling you, it could happen. But I think the Clippers have it this year. When Rondo got traded to the Clippers, I thought that's going to gel that team. And I think it is.
And they have somebody else. They have Cousins too on that team, and they haven't really used him much during the season. But Cousins could be a factor in the playoffs too for the Clippers. We'll see what happens.
He could. All right, let's jump to the East. Let's talk about what's going to happen. We've already talked about the play-in games and what's going to happen. The Pacers are destroying the Hornets. They're going to move on. They're going to play, we think, the Celtics. And I do think the Celtics handle the Pacers.
Who did I take?
You had the Wizards beating the Celtics.
Right.
I assume you had the Pacers over the Hornets.
Right. Yeah, of course.
So we've got Celtics Pacers to play.
Okay, so Celtics Pacers. I'm going to take actually the Celtics also, even though they're playing horrible basketball. They're 5-10 the past 15 games. I don't like the Pacers at all. They got Miles Turner's hurt, their big man, their defense isn't that great, and Levert's playing okay, but I just feel Indiana has too many injuries. TJ Warren's hurt. I'm going to take this Boston Celtics, and maybe Brown will be back for the Celtics. We'll see what happens.
You know what? I'm gonna go out on a limb and say the Pacers are gonna beat the Celtics. I'm gonna call it. Why not?
Right.
All right. So I have the Pacers advancing as the 8 seed. You have the Celtics. They're going to play the number 1 seed, which is the 76ers. A lot of these teams were bunched up towards the top, but the 76ers won out. I'd have the 76ers mopping the floor with either of those teams.
Yeah, the Sixers played the last month. They played great. They took the 1 seed away from the Nets during the regular season. They're playing unbelievable basketball. They got Simmons, you got Embiid, you got Harris, you got their team is very talented. They got Curry, Seth Curry, not Steph Curry, but Seth Curry. Their team is playing great as a team right now, and yes, I have them winning in that round.
Now, I should say, fans out there, you can make comments. Go ahead and let us know if we got this wrong. You got to let us know. It's our last chance to change it. But I think we both agree the Sixers move on. The number 2 seed, the Nets, is going to play the winner between the Wizards and the Celtics. We had the Wizards. So the Wizards against the Nets. Now, remember, the Nets, they're without Harden for how long? How long is Harden out for?
Harden's back. Harden will be playing in the playoffs.
He is back. Okay.
He'll be playing in the playoffs. He could have played during the regular season. They were slow playing it, which is smart. He doesn't have to come out and show that he's ready. Harden can come out anytime he wants, and he'll pop a triple-double. He'll be scoring 30 points a game. Whatever he didn't do, he'll do. I'll make another prediction. I say James Harden is the MVP of the playoffs. How do you like that, Dr. Dan? James Harden, MVP of the playoffs, not the season. That's Joker.
Hey, I love predictions like that, especially when I disagree.
James Harden is going to be MVP of the playoffs. The Nets, we haven't talked about it at all, but as I said, I took them to win it without Harden. Now with Harden, they're like unbelievable, and I just feel they're not going to lose a 7-game series to anybody in the East.
It's hard for me to even argue against you on that. I want them to lose because I'm not a super team kind of guy.
Me either. I love when the underdog wins. Trust me. I love underdogs.
I know. But actually, I think if there's going to be an MVP from that team, it's going to be Durant.
Love it.
That's my feeling. Okay. So I do have them mopping the floor with the Wizards as well. We go to the 3-6 game. This is extremely interesting. We got the Milwaukee Bucks, who could easily have been the top seed, against the Miami Heat, who represented the East in the finals last year and have a very, very good team.
Yep. So
this is a tough series.
It's a tough series. So last year, I don't know if you remember this, the Miami Heat played Milwaukee.
Yep.
Miami Heat upset Milwaukee. So this is a revenge series for Milwaukee. And I don't feel the Heat, Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero, these guys are not having the years they had last year. Those guys were lights out. I know Butler's doing well and Bam's playing pretty well. We know all this, but I just don't feel that the Heat's playing consistently like they were last year. I feel they're a different team, different feel. I think Milwaukee's going to be ready for him. Greek the Freak will have unbelievable games. Middleton will be playing well. They got Holiday now, who's a big upgrade from last year. Bledsoe, who was on the team. I feel the Milwaukee is going to win that series in 5 games.
I agree. I think they're.
You say 5 games?
I would say 6.
Okay.
But Drew Holiday is the reason.
Yeah, big upgrade. They had Bledsoe last year, and he played okay and wasn't like that bad. But Holiday is such a big upgrade. And
listen, everybody calls him the Greek Freak, but I call him Antetokounmpo because I can pronounce his last name.
You can pronounce it.
Antetokounmpo. Okay, but I think that Antetokounmpo is in a similar place to the Utah Jazz. This is a respect series. This is the time where he's got to earn his respect. He must win this series, or he's going to be regarded.
They gave him a huge contract during the season. Remember how much money he's making? He's making Dr. Dan Ratner. He's making Dr. Dan Ratner money. Let's admit it. Come on.
He will make enough money, but the NBA is a game. It's a mental game, and you have to elevate to the next level.
Yep.
That's what everybody's looking at with him. Is he going to elevate to the next level or not? I'm not saying he is going to elevate to the next level, but I do think he holds on and beats the Heat here. Okay, now we got a really interesting series. 2 young, up-and-coming teams who have been bad for many years.
Okay, good. Who are they?
The New York Knicks are not only in the playoffs, but they're actually the home field team.
They're number 4 seed. It's unbelievable.
Against the 5 seed, the Atlanta Hawks. Also very impressive. Great.
So the Atlanta Hawks, I mean, this is a great story. They had a Coach Lloyd who was coaching there, and they were 14-20. And they said, okay, we're firing you. We're 6 games under 500. We're probably not going to make the playoffs. You wrote them off. I wrote them off. Everybody wrote off the Atlanta Hawks. All of a sudden, they hire Nate McMillan. They're just not like a 6-7 seed. They're a 5 seed in the East. They're playing great basketball. Trae Young, Bobakovic, I can never say his name, but he's playing lights out. I mean, he's playing unbelievable. And it's like the Atlanta Hawks is like a great story. They totally turned it around when they hired McMillan. And this guy should get a raise. He should get a 5-year contract. They should do whatever they can to keep him there because he proved he can coach, and he really can. Will they beat the New York Knicks? No.
Yeah. See, I think the thing about the Knicks that is going to make them the winner in this series is their defense.
Oh, yeah. Their defense, their defense is number 2. You know who's the number 1 defense? Is the LA Lakers. Did you know? I just read about that. It's unbelievable.
I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive. And if they play that way, you know, the Clippers winning is really, it's all going to depend on Kawhi Leonard. But he can do it. We've seen him do it before.
The Clippers, yes, I agree. I know people say they're hexed, that there's something going on with the Clippers. They have great years, and they always lose in the first or second round in the playoffs. Not this year, Dr. Dan. Not going to happen this year.
I actually think last year is going to help them. That
that was a bubble. Remember that? Oh my! They wanted to lead the bubble. I don't think they wanted to win.
That's a good point. You know, this is one of the reasons that the Heat did so well last year. Certain teams did better in the bubble. They had that kind of mentality. And the Heat would be doing better this year if they were in the bubble again. I just feel like
as I mentioned, I took the New Jersey. I took the Brooklyn Nets, and my friend who's on right now, George Tucci, who lives in Montreal, who's an NBA expert. He really is. This guy knows everything about the NBA. He's like unbelievable. He took the Brooklyn Nets too, and we both have the same teams in the championship. That's unbelievable. And when that happens, we're 100% right. When we predict the same teams, we never lose.
So
it's unbelievable.
Brooklyn against who? The Lakers?
The Clippers. Don't say Lakers.
Nice. Okay. Hey,
George and I can't stand the Lakers.
I knew that. That's why I was like, but I didn't remember you calling the Clippers. I thought I was so original, but I am calling them to win it. No,
we didn't take the Clippers to win. We took the Nets just because, I mean, with Harden, Durant, and Irving, you can have George Tucci, Dr. Dan Ratner, and Ross Mark playing in the game, and we would still win the game.
Okay, now listen. Now we've got the Sixers against the Knicks. We both predict.
Ooh, what a great series!
This is a great series, and it's going to go 7.
I'll go first. I mean, again, Julius Randle. If I was going to pick my MVP this year is Joker, but my second one would be Julius Randle. He's playing unbelievably. He had a great season, great last month. I mean, this guy is the real deal. The Lakers should have kept him. Huge mistake. I'm going to take the Knicks. I'll take the Knicks. I know only 12% of the people can come to the games in Madison Square Garden. It won't matter. I like the Knicks, and I feel that they can. I feel they can upset the Sixers.
All right. Meanwhile, George Tucci is saying no lakes in Lakerland this year. And he's looking dapper in his picture.
He's a good-looking guy. Yeah, he's single, ladies. Just so you know.
Yep, George Tucci, he's out there for you. Okay, yep. So now listen. I think this series goes 7 games, and I
agree. Who do you like? I can't wait to hear this.
I am going to call that the Sixers are going to win this. They're going to win it. Like it is going to be a dogfight.
I took the Knicks just because I feel I don't know why. I'm kind of rooting for them because they've had such a horrible past 10, 20 years. 30. And I just want them to win, and I just feel they've been on such a roll lately. I think they can do it.
No, actually, you're right. It's 20. It feels like 30.
I mean, I don't know.
Well, Ewing and Starks and all them. That was not
Bernard Toon. I mean, Walt Frazier. I mean, what do you want to talk about? I
mean, it's one of the few New York teams that I would root for because they're the underdog. I mean, what a great story. And I'd love it. And I would rather see the Knicks beat the 76ers, but I think the 76ers hold on. And I think this is a very important series because the Sixers are going to come through this series battle-tested because of the Knicks. It'll be because of the Knicks.
It'll be like the old days with Oakley. Remember Oakley and Ewing and all those guys, it would beat you up during the series, and it was very tough to recover after that.
Yep. George Tucci says the Wizards and the Knicks are peaking. I can't disagree with him there. I just think they have.
George, you missed it. We talked about the Wizards. We agree with you. We have the Wizards going pretty far. We feel Beal and Westbrook are the best guard tandem in the league, and they're going to be tough to beat. But the problem with the Wizards are they have no front court. But there you go.
Well, and at least the Sixers will avoid the Wizards in the first round because we think they're going to beat the Celtics.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
But the Sixers are going to have to face the Knicks. That's going to be very tough. Okay, now we've got Bucks versus Nets.
That's going to be a great series. First of all, I say 7 games. Dr. Dan, what do you say?
I think this game only goes 6.
You think this? I say 7. 6 could be good. Harden, Irving, and Durant, and then they have a couple other players with Brown and Harris. I mean, they got some great. I mean, you're not going to beat the Nets. I'm sorry, Milwaukee, but you made it to this. You almost made it to the finals.
I mean, and this would be Antetokounmpo's getting the LeBron treatment here because the old LeBron treatment where he's got to play against 3 great players on his own. It's just going to be too hard. I mean, not on his own because the Bucks are really good, and I want to give them proper respect. But listen, if they want to get that respect, they've got to beat the Nets here.
Yeah, if they beat the Nets, they get my respect. But the Bucks have done nothing in the playoffs since.
First, they have to beat Miami.
They haven't done anything in the playoffs since like Bob Lanier was playing for him. I mean, it's been like years.
That's right. Okay, now we've got the number 1 seed, the Sixers, playing the number 2 seed, the Nets. We both have that. Yep. Oh, no, you have the Knicks. You picked the Knicks.
I took the Knicks. I like being Knicks, a little different.
Nets. Wow.
And Tucci will agree with me. George will agree with the Knicks. I hope so, over the Sixers. But again, that's going to be a great. So this could actually happen. The Nets, New York, against the Knicks, New York, versus the Clippers, LA, and the Lakers, LA. That could be like the conference championship in both leagues, which would be for the league of the NBA. That's gonna make their ratings unbelievable. I mean, everybody's going to be watching this. So if it's the Nets and Knicks in the finals, it's going to be great basketball. I can't wait to watch it. It's going to be. I mean, I'm taking the Nets, as you guys know. I picked them to win the whole thing. I'll still take them, but I'm excited. I mean, again, it's going to be a great tournament.
Picking the Nets is a very obviously a reasonable thing to do. I think they are the favorites, but I'm going to pick the Sixers. And
I'm taking the Sixers to be in the championships against the Clippers. So
yes.
So we already know our predictions. I'm taking the Nets over the Clippers. You got the Clippers over the Sixers.
That's correct.
I love that prediction. I hope you win, actually.
I mean, because you're a Clippers fan.
I know it's going to be, and remember, the basketball playoffs is going through like 3rd week of July, and then they take off, and then 1 week later, you know where it starts? Tell me what you know what starts 1 week after the NBA championship is over with? The Olympics and the Team USA. Wow. And all these players you'll be watching in the playoffs, a lot of them are going to be playing in Tokyo.
The rest of the world, you know what? I want to see the old Dream Team come back now.
Oh, I was watching with the 92 team. I mean,
they could still beat a lot of the people in the world.
You know, Jordan was interviewed. They asked Jordan about that. They asked him, like, who would win, the Dream Team of 92 or the current USA team? And he said, you know, we would probably just lose by 5 points.
That's honest, and
he said we would lose by probably 5. He said if some of the guys are more healthy, we could win, but he said we'll probably lose by 5.
Okay, now George Tucci saying Bucks in 6 over the Knicks. So George Tucci, you're saying that the Bucks are going to beat the Heat, the Knicks are going to beat the Hawks. But that
I'm surprised George said that. He has a lot of family in New York too. His uncle was a cop in New York City. I'm surprised he's taking Milwaukee. He has no allegiance to Milwaukee.
But Milwaukee,
I have no idea why he's doing that.
Milwaukee can't even meet the Knicks unless it's in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Correct. So
I thought he was picking the Nets.
I don't know what he's doing. I mean, he's probably on this 3rd bottle of wine. He's Italian. He's drinking.
He's dressed all well. He thinks we're not going to.
You know, he's on Tinder. He's making dates. He's unbelievable, George. We all love the guy, but
he's like the Sonics against the Bullets.
I'll take the ABA Kentucky Colonels versus, but it's going to be a great. It's going to be a really fun NBA playoff. I hope everybody watches. And we'll do a show when the championship starts. We'll do a show like the night before and talk about the championship for 10 minutes.
I think that's a great idea. And I loved talking this with you, Ross. This made my day. And I love that we disagreed on certain things and we've got different picks. I think Tyronn Lue is going to be the guy who won championships for the Cavs and the Clippers. Can you imagine?
And can you imagine this? If that happens, and I'll let you go on this, the Lakers and Clippers could have a parade together celebrating their championships like on the same day.
Right.
That'd be like never been done. That'd be like the biggest event in LA history if they ever did something like that.
That would be incredible.
It'd be crazy. Like Clipper and Laker fans coming together to celebrate their championships. Because the Lakers never had a parade. If they did, it was like nobody was there. They did it like virtually, whatever they did. But they want to have like a real parade with fans and people there and the whole 9 yards. And with the Clippers, it'd be unbelievable.
If they do it, I'm going to call them the LA Clippers.
I know, but it'd be great. I'm rooting for New York, and LA championships. I mean conference championships.
I would love to see the Knicks go all the way to the championship and face one of those LA teams. That would be amazing.
Me too.
And I say this as a small market guy. I'd actually rather see like the Bucks go, but that's me. But like the Knicks are the underdog and the big market. That's pretty cool.
It is cool. And again, if Milwaukee goes far, I like the Greek. I mean, Alanis. I mean, he's a great player. I wish him well. I mean, I think he's like one of these guys I kind of root for. So I won't be upset if Milwaukee.
I want to see one of these guys elevate their game. I want to see them get like we used to watch where, first it was Bird and Magic and then it was Jordan and, then Kobe. It was people escalating.
Do you remember what happened last year with the Denver Murray like went crazy in the playoffs?
Yep. Unfortunately, out.
And he was like, it was this coming out party, basically, the playoffs. He was like scoring 30 points a game. He was getting assists. He was like unstoppable. And then everybody picked him during fantasy basketball, and they were a big disappointment. I didn't take him either. But I mean, long story short, I mean, there'll be somebody that's going to emerge out of the ashes that we haven't talked about.
I'll tell you who it's going to be.
I'm listening. I'll tell you who I like. Who's your pick?
All right. I think it's Joel Embiid. I think he is the guy.
The guy's an all-star. What are you talking about?
No. I'm not talking about all-star. I'm talking about elevating your game. I'm talking about like get up to like Hakeem Olajuwon level.
So you think he'll be averaging 35 points a game, 15 rebounds?
I think he's going to
3 blocks
special this year. Yep.
Wow.
And you?
I'm going to,
You said Harden.
I think James Harden. I know it's like you're saying, Ross, why are you taking James Harden? I think James Harden is going to be the MVP of the playoffs. I think he's going to average triple double. So he'll average that during the playoffs, and I feel he'll be taking his team to the championship and winning it all, and he'll be league MVP. He'll be MVP of the playoffs.
Okay, if it happens, I think it's going to be Durant who leads the way. George Tucci says Heat over Bucks in 7. He has changed his tune. George, I give you credit for rethinking that. And
the Heat. What do you? Oh God, I'm not even get into it.
I think it's Bucks in 6. Okay, guys, this was great. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, click subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, hit like if you like what you're hearing, and put your comments below. And Ross or I will get back to you personally. We hope to see you again soon. We'll see you again before the NBA Finals.